Well, first of all, thank you so much for everyone that is taking the time out of their Thursday evening to join me here. This is a very different type of talk because at the end of the day, I could have done a talk around like rapid fat loss and like lose 10 pounds in 10 days, like, but that's not helpful. That's just going to blend into all the other noise, and it's not what you need. This concept of stopping self-sabotage is so important and so deep, but it's not sexy. So I know this is one of those things that is so important that it's one of the cornerstone pieces to the people and the ladies that I work with in my program. So let me share my screen and we're going to dive right in. Oh, Miss McKinnon is in the house. I'm here for it. All right. Can you guys see this screen? Can y'all see it? Cool. So all right, let's dive in. We're talking about stopping self-sabotage, the missing piece for losing 20 to 30 pounds and keeping it off for good. If you guys see me looking a little bit different, I have another screen with my slides on it. So that's what we're talking about. Tonight's topic is strictly self-sabotage. Okay, we're gonna dive right in. So if you're new here, I'm your host of the night. My name is Jared. If you have not met me, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on my story because most of you guys already know who I am. But in case you don't, why is my picture not there? Well, there's supposed to be another picture of my dog. I'm a dog dad times 3. I am a purple belt in jujitsu. I don't know why my photos aren't showing now. That's cool. I married my first girlfriend. This was right here, a photo of us when we started dating. But more than anything, why you're here is because I've spent the last 15 years, not half a decade, literally over a decade, helping thousands of women using my dieting from the inside out method to stop self-sabotage for good. The reason why I make this so abundantly clear, and it's not always about before and afters. That's not what I'm here to say. Is my big thing is I want you to know what I'm about to teach you works, because the way self-sabotage works is you're already going to have stuff coming up right around that's them, or well, I'm different. My story is this. Self-sabotage is already starting then, if that's the case. But what I'm about to show you is one of the cornerstone principles I have used in helping thousands of women over the last 15 years. Okay. So, but you have to understand this before self-sabotage sneaks in and your brain counts you out right about now. These women, the ones I just showed you, these women are just like you. The women here, they have the big careers. They have multiple kids. They travel a lot. They're usually between the ages of 45 and 65. So if you're like, oh, I'm over 40, I'm too old, whatever. They have things like PCOS, thyroid issues, or menopause, perimenopause, menopause, high stress jobs in life, have struggled for years losing and keeping the weight, the keeping off the same 20 to 30 pounds. How many of you guys meet these criteria? Tell me in the chat. How many of you meet the criteria of that stuff? There you go. Cecilia says yes. Guys, by the way, I live off of engagement on these. Literally, like what is my oxygen is your guys' engagement. I call this an interactive workshop because this is not just me yelling at you. I want to get your feedback. I want the comments. Because here's the other thing. When you comment, it tells everyone else they can comment too. This is why I wanted to say this, because usually when people look at photos like this, they go, oh, well, she's younger. She doesn't have my issue. She's whatever. Not the case. Literally, if they can do it, I promise you can too. Okay. Now, before we get too deep into the weeds, why are you here? I think it's really important to get clear on what your outcome is here. Before, when I hopped on early, I was chatting with a few of you. I got a little bit of that from you, like why you're here. I want to know why you're here. I also speak in memes and GIFs, by the way, so I have a little bit of humor in these. Why are you here? What brings you here? Why are you here at 8:30 on a Thursday night learning about self-sabotage? What is your intention here? I will wait. I'm taking my time. I booked out 90 minutes for this bad boy. Let's see. Christy, career 66 years old, street struggle for 30 years, would like to lose 30, 40 pounds. Need to finally do this. Let's go. Jackie, to learn to stop emotional eating and binge eating. You're speaking my language. Jennifer, I know what to do, but never do it. Oh, we gonna get to that one. We got that one. I'm ready on deck with that. If I'm pronouncing your name right, Inella, because because this is the missing link. I can work out, but I can't maintain a diet 100%. Or let's see where else. I want to learn how to be better about being consistent with my weight loss goals. I love that. What's that look like for you? Where's it fall off? Tara, I keep thinking about how I have heard you say you need to do something that works in the chaos of life, not when it gets quieter. Preach, my friend, 100%. We can't say we want results in all seasons if we bounce when things get busy. Kim, I want to be to feel more comfortable in my own skin. Karen, I want to look after myself as well as I have looked at everyone around me. Then Becca, I have followed you for a few years now and finally ready to pull the trigger and actually learn how to take care of myself. Let's go. Kalani, hitting a plateau and not knowing how to proceed forward. Beautiful. Well, let's dive in, shall we? I think it's important again to know why you're here. Now, there are three types of people on this call, my friends. Three. Okay. The first one, I'm going to call you the thinker. What I mean by that, the thinker, always learning, never applying, feels productive, but nothing ever changes. And they've got a PhD worth of information, but no results to show for it. For context, this is the individual that comes to everything, that absorbs all the information, doesn't apply, does all the challenges, all these things. And if that's you, this is not good. We have to change it for you. This to help. We have to get out of this type one right here. That's why I say bye, Felicia. Here's the thing. I don't want this to be more knowledge. My goal is not to just give you more knowledge to add to your knowledge piggy bank. This only works if you apply it. Okay. That's the first type of person. As in, this type of person, this is not going to be any different. They're going to listen to this content and go back to the way they struggled. That's not who I'm talking to on this call. Type two, the intentional escapist. High drive, good intentions, but always find a reasonable reason to pause and fall off. They mean well until life, money, or the perfect plan gets in the way again. How many type twos do we have up in here? You mean well, you start off strong, but man, something always happens. Every time, though. We're going to dive hard. Then we have the pattern breaker. Wow, my graphic didn't stage, so ignore the by Felicia. The pattern breaker. This person, they've been stuck before. They've self-sabotaged, but now they're done pretending. This individual, they're an action taker and realize for results to change, they have to change. The pattern breaker. This pattern breaker is ready to do the uncomfortable work, to unlearn all the old bullshit that has kept you stuck, that is ready to uncover the hood and do the stuff that's hard, the deep work. So I want to know, which are you? Which are you? Which version? I want everyone to comment. By the way, if you're not willing to comment and engage, I highly doubt you're going to go actually put in the effort on the other side of this. So take being on this call and actually engaging and participating as the start to your momentum. Because if you can't comment one, two, or three, or engage, then you're not going to go put in the deep work I'm about to show you. Let's see. Threes, thinkers, all three. Well, you only can be one because like the one and three are totally polar opposites. Type three, somewhere between two and three. Well, here's the thing, guys. I'm sorry, but the only people who are going to make any difference is a three. You have a moment right now to decide you're going to be a three. Because here's the reality. For you to do the three things, you don't have to feel good. You don't have to feel like it. You have to commit and do the three things. As in, you don't have to like feel ready. You don't have to any of that. You're going, nope, this is me. Because here's the reality. This person, first of all, this person, the thinker, isn't going to do anything. So I'm not even like talking to a thinker right now. The type two, the intentional escapist is a very slippery slope because you always start strong. You always feel good. But man, you just get hit in the side of the face by self-sabotage. Like this is where a lot of people stay trapped in type two. The intentional escapist is because you feel like you're doing everything right and you feel like you're doing well, but you keep repeating the same pattern for the last 10 years. That's why the only people who make changes are type threes. So you have to come in. If you're a type one or a two right now, you have to, before we move any forward, go, you know what? I am a type three now. I am committing to being a three, which means you have to do three level things. Hopefully this is making sense. How many are you guys ready to learn a little bit more? Let's dive in. So, which are you? We talked about that. All right, we're gonna dive in. Now, again, this is interactive. I gotta hear from you guys. Why do you think you sabotage? Why? You literally came to a workshop called Stopping Self-Sabotage. So that inherently means you went, I self-sabotage. Why do you self-sabotage? Why do you think? I don't care if it's wrong. I'm gonna show you why you sabotage. Don't get me wrong, I got two big reasons you do. But why do you personally in this moment think you sabotage? Everybody's getting quiet. We're not moving forward until I get some feedback from you guys. I want to know, why do you think you sabotage? Food is my coping. Let's see. It's comfortable and easy because I don't manage my emotions well. Ooh, I feel that. Because I get so tired of having to focus on being healthy. It feels never ending. Protection. I really don't know. It's fair. Fear of change. Some deep stuff right there. Because I think restriction, I think of restricting and then binge. Totally get it. Becca, quick question. I know it's recorded, but can we? Yes, you can get later access to this. I use chaos as an excuse for myself to slip. 100%. That's some number two stuff. Food replaces my emotions. Food, stupid fear of success. Patterns are too deep, but need to be broken out of. That's exactly what we're talking about. Excuse me. Comfortable. It feels insurmountable right now. It's a slippery slope. I don't even realize when it's happening until I wake up. Ooh, you speak into my soul, Kristen. Because here's the thing, guys. When it comes to all of this, is we have to address what's under the hood. We have to go deeper. Excuse me. So I love where your head's at. I love the mode you guys are thinking in. So here's the reality. Most people think the reason they self-sabotage is because they're too busy. They think if their why isn't strong enough. Not true. It's because they think they're broken. They think something is inherently broken inside of them. That is why it's not in the cards for them to get to where they want to be. They think they sabotage because their hormones, metabolism, blah, blah, blah. Or they think everyone else knows something that they don't. How many of you guys feel like that? How many of you guys resonate with this list? How many of you guys feel like, man, that is exactly why I sabotage because I'm too busy. I'm too far gone. My metabolism's trashed, even though I've never tested it. Everyone else must know something that I don't know. There must be a secret in a cave hidden that everyone else had access to. Couldn't be further from the truth, my friends. It couldn't be. The truth is, it's all psychology. You have this undertow, this undercurrent of behaviors in the things that create your behaviors on autopilot that controls 90% of your actions every day. And that's where self-sabotage lives. Self-sabotage, going back to this slide, self-sabotage is not a willpower game. It's not a work harder game. It is not a discipline game. It is not a buckle down and be serious game. If you are basing getting out of the trap of self-sabotage using willpower, discipline, grit, more rules, more restriction, you're not going to make it because that's not where self-sabotage lives. Is this making sense so far? My goal is with just this one alone, people's brains to go, oh my gosh, I've never heard this before. Again, the truth is it's all psychology. This is also, now you may be going, Jared, why doesn't anyone else talk about this? Why is everyone on the internet talking about like your metabolism, you're broken, you're why? I go, it's this. Most influencers and other coaches miss the mark on this one. It's easier to tell you just eat less, move more, work harder than it is to actually unpack what's going on underneath the hood. There are so many things that make up your personal psychology that it's easier to just say, take these supplements, eat less, move more, grind harder, work out more. That's actually going to make your self-sabotaging worse. The reality is, I'm going to dive into psychology with you. This is going to be heavy note taking. But if you have these issues and a plan that's unsustainable and a plan where it's just like what someone said, insurmountable, it's going to add gasoline to the self-sabotage fire. We have to fix above and below the ground. I digress. So here's the hard battle when it comes to self-sabotage. It happens subconsciously, as in you don't know you're doing it. I think someone in here, I can't remember who it is, a bunch of comments back said they don't know it until they wake up. How many of you guys feel like you're fighting an enemy you don't even see? How many of you feel like you literally just can't get out of your own way no matter how hard you try? You do all the things. You're eating less, you're moving more, you're saving the Instagram post, you're eating healthy, you're literally doing everything. But then somehow you like wake up and all of a sudden the weight's back. All of a sudden you're binge eating again. You start with the best intentions, but then something happens like as soon as you make progress and everything comes crashing down. It's almost like you just can't get out of your own way. This is where it happens because self-sabotage is like a thief in the night. Self-sabotage waits till you are on autopilot. That's why it's subconscious. Is there a thing as conscious sabotage where you go, I don't care anymore? Yes, that is conscious sabotage. But subconscious sabotage is where you are unaware that it's even happening. How many of you guys feel like that? Say I in the chat. Like, yes, that's me. Oh my gosh, I've never been so seen. That's what my goal here is. That's what we're talking about. Now, I don't know if you guys have been around for very long. My one superpower is I can make anything toddler simple because for me to understand stuff, it's there. So there are only two dominant reasons you subconsciously self-sabotage. Any guesses? There's only two. For context, guys, again, I'm not holding anything back. I'm literally opening the curtain. I'm going to show you the two dominant reasons that has helped me change thousands of busy women's lives over the last 15 years because of these two dominant reasons. Because most people are dabbling with stuff that isn't related. Most people are dabbling with stuff that's so unrelated to self-sabotage, it's no wonder it's not working. Susan says fear. Nope. Great guess. I like where your head's at, but not for tonight. Fear and past history. We're getting closer. Past history is like the tip of the iceberg, but we're not quite there yet. We're getting there. Ashley, I like it. I like where your head's at. If a client's on here, you're not allowed to answer because you're going to give away all the secrets for everybody. Bad relationship with food. So that can make it harder. Definitely, where we have to fix that more than anything. But people with great relationships with food self-sabotage. Inability to unpack emotions. Again, that's part of it. I like where your head is at. But you can have a great emotional regulation skills and you still self-sabotage if you don't fix these two things. All right, I'll quit teasing you. So there are only two. Number one, it's your identity. The biggest reason you self-sabotage, it is your identity. Anybody just went, holy shit. Oh my gosh. How, or also like, how the hell is that related? Literally, your own identity is the reason you self-sabotage. Here's what's crazy, guys. You notice you self-sabotage to the same spot every time? You don't like lose 20 pounds and gain 40. You lose 20 and gain back 20. You ever notice you self-sabotage to exactly where you were at? It's not an accident. One of the biggest reasons, and I'm going to show you how to fix it too. I'm not just going to give you all the problems and then walk away. I'm going to show you how to fix it. Reason number one is it's your identity. Now, what is your identity? Because again, I don't want to make any assumptions on this call. I want to make sure we walk through everything. This is what your identity is. Your identity is the stories that live rent-free in your head, the beliefs you hold about yourself, the limitations you believe, and your self-image as a whole. I mean, curious, what is your guys' current identity right now? What are the stories that live rent-free in your head? What are the beliefs you hold about yourself? What are the limitations you believe in? What is your self-image right now? Give me some feedback. Where are things at currently? I bet without even knowing anybody on this call, I bet the stories are things like I'm a binger, and then you wonder why you sabotage the binge eating, or you have an identity of I'm too old, limitations, I'm too far gone, self-image of I've always struggled, or whatever, fill in the blank. It's not an accident that you sabotage back to your identity. There you go. Becca just said, I'm too busy. There you go. This is what's crazy, guys, is why do you think the placebo effect works? Because it alters your identity and beliefs. You believe a pill will fix it. You believe this thing will cause the problem to go away. So your results mirror that. But the reality is most of your guys that are listening to this, your identity is made up of all the things you don't like. I'm a binger. Once I start, I can't stop. I'm not the kind of person that is successful. Everyone in my family's always been this way. I've always struggled with food. Once I start, I can't stop. I'm an all or nothing person. I'm a perfectionist. Your identity is literally the problem. I'm too old. I've never been able to do this. I knew I'd gain my weight back. Yeah, you don't think that plays a role in this? This is why your identity is your baseline. It's the foundation of who you are. This is why you self-sabotage, is because you notice this is the way I word it with clients is you self-sabotage to something. You self-sabotage to what? It's to your identity. And most people, again, their old identity is just there from childhood or from struggle, and then it's no wonder you sabotage to it. So here's what your identity does. We've already been talking about this a little bit. Your identity controls your subconscious actions, as in the actions you don't realize you're doing. Like right now, think about the subconscious actions you're doing. You might be tapping your face. You might be bouncing your foot. You might be biting your lip. You might be twirling your pin. Didn't realize I'm touching my face. These are subconscious actions. That's when self-sabotage slips in. So of course, when you go, "Oh, I'm a binger," you subconsciously start to binge and snack and overeat. You subcon or your identity is I'm too old. So you catch yourself only thinking about how old you feel and then doing what old people does. You quit going to the gym, you quit eating right, you just assume your actions don't matter. Your identity is the biggest, most important thing we have to change. It controls your patterns. Ashley mentioned that earlier. 100%. Your identity controls your patterns. Why do you do the things that you do? Think of it this way. Why do you brush your teeth every day? Someone tell me, why do you brush your teeth every day? Don't be getting quiet on me. Why do you brush your teeth every day? It's deeper than that. Hygiene habit, Cecilia says. It's good for your health. Nope. Well, it is, but that's not why. Oral hygiene and cavity prevention. Why do you care? Because it would be gross to not. It's a habit, right? But you guys are missing it. It's because you have an identity of somebody who prioritizes their oral health. You ever met someone who doesn't brush their teeth? You could tell them it's because of hygiene all day, and they go, I don't care. It's because you guys do it because you have an identity of someone who prioritizes your oral health. That's why you brush your teeth. You have an identity around I do this every day. This is what I do. This is who I am. I'm someone who takes care of their teeth. I don't let my teeth get nasty. I'm not a gross person. Isn't it crazy? And so you brush your teeth on autopilot. You don't even miss a day. If you do miss a day, you're back on track. How many of you guys that say I'll start over Monday ever have done that with your teeth? We've all slipped up and forgot to brush our teeth or like overslept and or fell asleep on the couch or whatever. But have you guys ever said, I'm going to wait till Monday to start to before I brush my teeth? But you'll turn around and say, I'll wait till Monday before I start over on my plan. You see the difference? Your identity controls that. It controls your default mode. Your identity, guys, please hear me when I say this, is where you go straight to when life gets busy, chaotic, or stressful. I can't remember, a few of you guys said it, is you do good until life gets busy, then crash and burn. It's because chaos exposes your identity. Chaos exposes your self-image. Chaos exposes who you actually are. Cool. You can keep on your shit when you're cool, calm, and collective and life is easy. But as soon as things get crazy, you default back to these patterns. There's your identity. It's kind of like if this was any other area in your life. Imagine if your partner, imagine if like they stayed with you when life is good, but as soon as life gets chaotic, they leave or go cheat on you. Well, that just exposes who they really are when things get inconvenient. So when things get inconvenient, your identity exposes who you are because of what your actions do. Can I get an amen? Is this hitting home with anybody? You guys are getting quiet on me. Is this making sense? Is anyone having some like moments yet? If not, that's okay. I want to get a pulse check. There we go. Moving on. So for example, these are all identities or beliefs or what your identity or self-image is. I'm an all or nothing person. Then it's no wonder you have a tendency to fall into doing all or nothing things and always falling off, or you're either on it or you say, screw it, fuck it, and you're off it. Maybe I knew I would fail. So the entire time you're showing up and following the plan in the back of your head, you're like, you're not going to make it. You're going to fall off. Of course, you're going to find a way to fall off and sabotage. I've always been this way. And then all of a sudden, it's no wonder your actions are short lived because why try if you've always been this way? I'm a binger. And there's no wonder you find yourself binge eating in the pantry after a hard day. I'm too old or too far gone. How many of you guys feel like that? But then you all of a sudden start doing what people who believe they're too far gone. Why even try? If you feel like you're too old or too far gone, you wouldn't try. Like, why would you? So of course, it's no surprise that your actions follow suit with that. Or I'm the kind of person that finish the sentence. This is always ends in a limitation, by the way. What's the sentence completion you do? I'm always the kind of person that gains their weight. I'm always the kind of person that falls off. I'm the kind of person that just fails. What is it for you? But again, it's no wonder our actions follow suit and we self-sabotage to these things. Making sense so far? So, this is why identity is so important. You act in congruence with who you believe you are. That's just the hard truth of it. The reason you self-sabotage primarily is because you act in congruence with who you believe you are. If you truly believe you're an all or nothing person, of course you're quitting half the time because you can't be all in all the time. If you believe you're a binger, you of course are going to subconsciously start to binge eat. Here's the crazy part though, guys. Look at this graphic. I don't know if you all have been around a horse, but horses are way stronger than these little stupid plastic chairs from the dollar store. But this photo is kind of wild. That horse believes it's stuck. That's what's crazy. The horse has an identity of whatever I'm attached to, I can't move. But you and I both know that horse could turn its face and it would rip the chair. But the horse is stuck, regardless of what it's capable of, regardless of reality. We've all been around horses. Horses are strong animals, but it doesn't matter. It's like all the horse's strength and potential is killed because it has a belief that it is stuck because of the chair. When in reality, it's not like that. So, what reality are you suppressing of yours? Because I can tell you, after working with thousands of busy women, you're not an all or nothing person. You're not a binger. Even if you currently binge eat, there's a difference. You're not too old. You're not too far gone. I've changed more people's lives that have situations 10 times worse than yours. So that's not it's not one of those things where that's a qualifier to like not make it, if that makes sense. But the reason your identity is everything and is why it's the number one thing holding you back is because you always operate in congruence with who you believe you are. How many of you guys have ever actually given thought to who you are? How many of you guys have never heard of identity work before? Curious. Throw it in the chat. No stress, no judgment. How many of you guys have ever like never heard of this stuff before or never even thought about identity work, or you like have heard it but you never like took it seriously, or you didn't know what it was, or whatever the case is? This is deep psychology, guys. This is also why most people fail and always gain their weight back in sabotage, because if you don't affect the baseline, of course you're never going to make it. Okay. Your identity is your autopilot. I'm a big analogy guy if you guys are new here, because I want you to go, oh, that makes sense. Your identity is quite literally your autopilot. When you hop on a plane, once you get to cruising altitude, that pilot goes, dink, hands off the wheel. And then the plane makes its course corrections. Or if you guys are Tesla drivers here, Tesla does it, like, or other electric cars. There's the autopilot button. We go dink, and it steers it for you. Here's the thing. Please listen to me when I say this. Autopilots have to be set to what? They have to be set to a destination, into a direction. So if you are sabotaging because you have a shitty identity, it's because your identity is set, your autopilot is set in the wrong direction. You want to lose weight, but your autopilot is set to binger. You want to lose weight and love the way you look and feel, but your autopilot is set to not good enough and not worthy. You want to fit into all your clothes, but you have the identity of I'm going to be fat forever. I've always been this way. You have an idea, or you have a desire to lose, let's say 30, 40, 50 pounds and be the example for your kids, but you have the identity of I'm a perfectionist. I'm an all or nothing person. Once I start, I can't stop. And your autopilot goes that way. They never cross. We have to change the autopilot. Imagine how hard it would be for a pilot of a plane who has the autopilot set to Hawaii, but they're trying to steer to California. That's never going to work. But imagine how easy it would be if they just changed the autopilot settings. Is making sense? Christy just said, very much heard of it, but no idea how to do it. Well, we're gonna teach you. We're gonna take it today. I've got this. No worries there. Okay, next. Here's the other piece. Think of your identity like the thermostat on the wall. A speaker that I really look up to, Ed Milet, opened my eyes to this one. This is one of the most profound examples for identity work. Your identity is the thermostat on the wall. Think of it this way. If your identity, like this photo, it's set to 72. If your room temperature is set to 72 and the room heats up to 80 because your kid left the door open on a sunny day, what does the thermostat do? It goes, we're not supposed to be here, and it cools the room back off to where the setting is. Isn't that crazy? It also works the other way. If the room is set at 72, but it's the winter and you leave the door open, the room cools down. And then the thermostat goes, we're not set here. And it heats the room back up. Your identity is the same thing. Case in point, your identity is, let's say, I'm a binger. You go 2 or 3 weeks without binge eating. Your internal thermostat goes, not where we're set. And it subconsciously finds reasons to binge to cool your results back off. Or if you have an identity of I've always been this way. I'm always fat, whatever. And all of a sudden you start to lose weight. You start to do really well. Your results get good. Your identity goes, uh-oh, this is not where we're set. And it literally turns on and all of a sudden cools you back off to right where you started. This is why most people gain or lose and gain the same 20 pounds for their whole life. And we'll get to why that's an even worse thing in a minute. But is this making sense? Where if you do not change your internal thermostat, your identity, who the actual very beliefs about yourself and how you view yourself, you are not going to have results that last. Because this, I always say it this way, if you stay the same identity, get new results, your old identity will cool them off and ruin everything. Your brain, please hear me when I say this, your brain is only about self-preservation. It doesn't care if you get results or you're happy. So if your brain is set at, let's say, being overweight and you lose weight and you make progress, your brain is now threatened. So now you unconsciously start to regress until you're back to your baseline because that's just how your brain operates. It's just psychology. So you can either keep fighting this uphill battle or you can raise your identity. And then here's what's crazy. Then all of a sudden, the same things that would make you sabotage actually raise you up. Imagine this. Think about for a second, guys, how easy it is to sabotage. Think about how easy it is to like slip up once and you're just spiraling. Imagine if it was the other way. And you couldn't mess up if you wanted to because your new identity pulls you back up. You couldn't literally be off for a day without you unconsciously being back up. It's crazy, but that's what happens with your identity. Because here's what's nuts. What does your thermostat do when the room temperature in the room or I'm sorry, when the setting and the room temperature are at the same number? What happens? The thermostat shuts off. Like in this picture, if the room is set at 72 and the actual environment is at 72, it shuts off. Please, if you take nothing else from tonight's call, take this home. The number one driver of self-sabotage is progress. The number one reason you self-sabotage is because you are progressing. Because you are progressing ahead of your identity and ahead of some other stuff I'm about to show you. But that's the number one reason. Because if you're sucking and you're not moving and you're staying stagnant, self-sabotage doesn't have to turn on. Because you always sabotage back to your setting, to where you were. So if you don't make progress, self-sabotage doesn't turn on. But the problem is you don't want to stay down here. You don't want to stay 30 pounds overweight. You don't want to be hiding from photos anymore. You don't want to have a terrible relationship with food. You don't want to pass your issues down to your kids. So you go, okay, I'm ready to change. And then all of a sudden you can't do any progress without self-sabotage slapping you back down. It's because we got to change your internal thermostat. Makes sense so far? Here's a little science lesson, a little neuroscience lesson for you. Again, I'm trying not to get too in the weeds, like too overwhelming with this, because here's what's happening. This is the conscious mind versus the subconscious mind. Because if you notice, we call it subconscious self-sabotage. So your conscious mind is what we're doing right now. It's where logic is at, right? Versus your subconscious is where emotional things are at. The subconscious is also known as your emotional mind. Here's what's crazy. This is why it matters so much. Here's why you drift and why willpower isn't enough. Your conscious mind can only handle like 15, 20, 30 bits of information per second. That's the amount of things you can focus on is about 15 to let's say 40 bits of information per second. Your subconscious mind, you ready for this, can process 11 million bits of information per second. That's where but here's the reality. You're chilling with your day-to-day 85, 90% on autopilot. You're only 10 to 15% like aware of what you're doing every day. So where do you think self-sabotage is going to be at? It's down here. This is like where you actually think about things versus your subconscious is where there's zero thought. You're just reacting. It's where you go to food for comfort. It's where your diet, it's where knowing what your conscious mind is where knowing what to do starts and where your diet starts, but where your diet ends. When you say, I know what to do, but don't do it, it's because that's your subconscious in charge. That's the problem. It's where autopilots are. It's where your subconscious is where childhood stories and beliefs are, the old identity. But when you go, Jared, I know what to do, you're dealing with a 10 to 15% when like 85, 90% is what's running the show. Is this making sense? I know this is a little bit heavy. Does this make sense right here? Does this graph help? This is why whenever you're like collecting information, saving Instagram posts, downloading recipes and diets and trinkets of information, It's up here. But guess what? All of your shit is down here. This is what I'm talking about. If you do not address what's under the hood subconsciously, you will never make it. This is why you do good for a while up here, but then something always happens and you go down here. Here's the reality, guys. When you start to self-sabotage, I'm not saying those reasons aren't valid. Money does get tight. Life does get busy. Things do get chaotic. But the timing is perfect for as soon as you start to make progress, as soon as you start to lose some weight, as soon as you start to like get your feet solidified, it like slaps you and you're back on your ass again. It's because you're getting a little too ahead of your identity. What's a house? What happens when you build a house without a foundation? It crumbles. It might last for a little bit. One or two storms later, it falls. That's where you're at right now. If you are not getting into the subconscious, if you are not rewiring your childhood stories and beliefs, if you are not addressing what your brain processes, if you are not addressing how you're reacting, if you are not addressing this food stuff, you're never going to make it. We're getting there, Jackie. I promise we're getting there. I'm not going to leave you hanging on how do we change our identity. I'm going to get to that towards the end. Um, does this make sense so far? Everything's in the subconscious. This is why all this shit you see on Instagram is all up here. It's why you save more stuff than you execute on. So I want to do a little check-in. How are you guys doing? I know this is deep. I know this is heavy. I know it feels like you're drinking out of a fire hose right now. How about self-sabotage as a trauma response? Absolutely, that's part of this as well. We'll get into that more if you want. It's making sense. I don't want to move forward unless we're like take a big deep breath. Cool. Here's the crazy part. This is only the first reason you self-sabotage. It's identity driven. I'm going to show you the second. The second one, the biggest reason, the second other biggest reason you self-sabotage, which is congruent with the identity, but it gets a little bit deeper. The second reason, it is your pattern. Self-sabotage is just what you do. It's what you've done. Think about it this way. When you put your pants on every morning, you put in the same leg every morning. You don't alternate how you put your pants on. You just put in the right leg every time or the left leg every time. You shimmy on the same side every time. It's just purely a pattern. Self-sabotage, here's the hard reality. This is why it's so dangerous. This is why when people are like, no, I have to prove to myself I can do this. I have to do this on my own. The problem is every rep you sabotage, you are getting better and better at sabotage. Just like if every day I practice guitar, I'm going to get really good at guitar. Every time you start strong, fall off. You do well for a while, I'm going to start over Monday, fall off. Every time you self-sabotage, you are getting better and better and better and better at the skill set of sabotage. Imagine your kid practicing guitar or piano every day. They'll eventually get really skilled where they can just do it effortlessly. Y'all are there with self-sabotage. You have such a pattern of falling off. As soon as things start to get good, it just your body is just feels second nature. Guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but your body keeps score. You ever go to like punch your PIN number in for like your debit card or like your house key code and you forget like what it is, but your body remembers the shape? We have a key code on my front door. And same thing happens. I walked up and I'm like had a brain glitch. I'm like, what? I don't remember what my key code was. But as soon as my hand got to the keypad, it just did it. Same thing. You get how about you when you get in the car? You don't think about all the stuff you do, seatbelt, mirror, put in column, what all the stuff. You just do it because your body keeps the score. I say this with all the love in my heart. You self-sabotage so many times, your body does it on autopilot because it's what feels safest. You have fallen off so many times that that's quite literally what your body is programmed to do because you've done it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, just like you've typed in your key code or your debit card number so many times. Your body just does it without even thinking about it. So you could get your identity in place, but until you fix the pattern side neurologically, not going to make it. Again, I say this with love. I do not mean any of this judgmentally. I don't mean any of this harsh, but my goal as a coach for you guys right now is to be honest with you and be truthful and tell you the stuff no one else is going to tell you. So the second reason is because of patterns. Now, y'all do an exercise with me. I wish I could see you all right now. I want you to do an exercise. Cross your arms right now, like this. Cross them. Just cross them like this. Okay? Here's what I want you to do now. Cross them the other way. Does it feel weird? Does it feel funny? You can uncross them and tell me. But like when you cross it and you're like, well, some of you guys can't even do it. You're just like, I don't know where to put my arm. Or like you do this, like Becca just went, ew. Yeah, guys, this feels fucking weird. I cross my arm, my right over my left. If I go left over right, it's really hard. This is what I'm talking about, the pattern thing. You've crossed your arms one way for a decade, 2 decades, your whole life. So crossing them the other way feels so foreign and gross. And I bet if you started the call like this the wrong way, you would unconsciously recross them the other way. What do you think you're doing with your diets? What do you think you're doing with self sabotage? It's the exact same thing. Again, if just crossing arms with, we're not talking about no emotions are attached, no stories about your arms. You just cross them this way from a pattern perspective, and crossing them this way feels super fucking weird. And so you don't want to do it. And you would unconsciously recross them this way. This is what happens when you self sabotage. You have such a history of falling off every few months. Once I start, I can't stop. Waiting to start over Monday. So when you go, oh, I'm going to do it this way, you fall apart. It's the pattern that's the problem. Your arm crossing has nothing to do with your identity. But when you do it this way, it's the pattern that gets in the way because your body goes, I don't like this. This feels foreign. Foreign equals bad. Foreign equals dangerous. Foreign equals unknown. Let's not do it. So you've been, let's say, overweight most of your life, or you've been on trendy diets for the last decade, or everything you do is all or nothing. So you doing the right things feels fucking wrong. Pardon my French. This is why you sabotage. If for the last 10 years you lose motivation in month 2 of a plan and you fall off, it's going to keep happening because that's the pattern. Or if you've only lost weight by doing stupid, unsustainable, all or nothing things, and then now you're following my content and you're like, I'm going to lose weight sustainably, it's going to feel super weird, like the arm crossing thing, doing it the right way. So guess what happens? You self sabotage, you fall off. You've been all or nothing your whole life. So being a person of balance and moderation and sustainability, it feels weird. You go, gross, I don't want to do it. It's completely pattern driven. This is like, without getting too nerdy, this is neural pathways and neuroplasticity stuff. Is this making sense? You guys got quiet on me. Does this make sense about the pattern driven side and this whole arm crossing thing? Does make sense? Again, it's not even a thinking thing. It's a completely body keeps score like neuro thing. This is why if you don't address your patterns, this is guys, this pisses me off all the time when I hear other people tell me about whoever's coaching them about their issues, and they're like, all they do is give them macros and workouts. And I go, what are they doing about your patterns? What are they doing about your identity? What are they doing about your belief systems? What are they doing about your emotions? What are they doing about reprogramming you? What are they doing about your brain? What are they doing about your emotional regulation? And they go, what's all that mean? And it just breaks my heart because I know they're going to lose all their progress as soon as they quit going to that coach. This is the stuff, guys, that gives our clients inside dieting from the inside out results that last forever. I literally just interviewed a client. Her name's Stephanie. I don't see her on here. Stephanie's lost 50 pounds and kept it off for 5 years, literally the last 5 years. And she fixed her entire relationship with food and has complete peace and mental freedom and normalcy around food. But when we met, she was a basket case around this stuff. She had a horrible relationship with food, emotional eating like crazy, and couldn't keep 10 pounds off. But now she's 50 pounds off and free as fuck. But it's because this was some of the first work we did. We fixed her identity, we fixed her patterns, we fixed the inner work. Call it a day. There you go. Ashley, the same way. Ashley's on here. Ashley's lost 40 pounds and kept it off for 5 years. Same thing. It was one of the first things we did is went against her patterns and fixed her her identity because the old stuff was keeping her held down. If you don't fix the inner stuff, guys, you'll never have sustainable results that last forever. So with the whole arm thing, it feels weird because it goes against the actions you've always done. That's half the reason you're sabotaging as well. So what does your other patterns look like? Let's get really specific. Do you lose motivation? Is that your pattern? Does life get too busy and so you fall off? Do you say fuck it before binging a whole bunch of ice cream? Do you get bored and fall off? You have a pattern of program and diet hopping where you're like, do this one for 6 weeks and this one for a week and this one for a month and this one. You have a pattern of always wanting to quit. You have a pattern of progress never being good enough. So you always throw in the towel. You have a pattern of over restricting, being good, cutting calories, no carbs. You have a pattern of speeding things up all the time or running to food when you're stressed. How you feel? Is that you? How many of you guys do that? How many of you guys this list resonated? So here's the reason I bring it up. If those are your patterns, not doing them causes self-sabotage. It's no wonder you start off strong, then boom, this list comes in. There you go. It's the pattern. So half the reason you're sabotaging, like there you go, what like there are all these over restricting, bored, stress eating, all of it. It's because you do well, then boom, pattern comes in. You start doing well, boom, no motivation comes in. You start doing well, boom, life gets busy. It's just the pattern. It's not random. It is completely put in place because of how your psychology works. There you go. Jackie says, need a total revamp. I'm here for it. We got you. Is this helping, guys? Is this opening your eyes? So, moving on with patterns. What are yours? Was there what let me ask you guys, what are your patterns that weren't maybe on that list? What are some of them? What your patterns look like? Like what how do you sabotage? This is really, by the way, this is important data for here in a minute when I get strategic. What do you do to sabotage? Because here's the thing, guys, sabotage, self-sabotage has a track record. You've self-sabotaged the same 6 ways for the last decade. Over restricting, good versus bad, program hopping and diet hopping, giving into cravings, lose gain, start over, start off strong, gung ho, losing a couple pounds, and now you can go eat ice cream, 100%. So if you don't stop and fix these patterns, and I'm going to show you how, you're going to fall off because these patterns are going to keep coming. So moving forward, you guys are doing awesome. Here's the other thing to note. I've been teaching this to the ladies in dieting from the inside out, and it's been mind blowing. Your mind would rather choose a familiar hell versus an unfamiliar heaven. This is why your patterns are always, even if this is why your patterns fail you, even if you understand what's going on, is because your brain only cares about familiarity, even if it means suffering. As in, you will gravitate to a very familiar hell versus an unfamiliar heaven. This is why you know what to do, but don't do it. This is why you can't get out of your own way. It's because your subconscious would rather go back to the shit that it's always done because it feels safe versus being happy, thriving, and fulfilled, and thriving and being a great example to your kids. This is why. It's because your mind would rather gravitate to what's normal, even if it causes suffering and you're not happy, versus an unfamiliar heaven. This is what you're up against. This is why you sabotage. So if you don't have systems, processes, and frameworks in a plan built around it and the right support, most people, again, they go on autopilot and sabotage. See it every day. So your patterns came from a few different places. The patterns that cause you to sabotage came from your identity. Because if you believe you're an all or nothing person, you do all or nothing things. If you have an identity of a binger, it's no wonder you start binge eating. Your patterns come from your identity, your beliefs. Again, if you believe you're too far gone, you believe you're too old, you believe you're too late, you believe you're never going to make it, you will start acting in congruence with those parts of you. Then it's also just the arm crossing thing. It's what you've always done. It's what you've always done. If you've always crossed your arm right over left, crossing left over right feels foreign and you don't do it. If you've always lost weight unsustainably or done trendy diets or program hopped or quit when you got bored and unmotivated, you're going to want to do that again because not doing it feels unsafe. That's what we're up against. That's where your patterns come from for those that are curious. Now, who's ready for some tactics on how to fix? Who is ready for some tactics on how to fix these bad boys? I love it. I love it. Okay. Identity. I'm going to go through this because this is a lot. You might screenshot this. For the identity, there's a lot we have to do. Step number one, you have to let go of who you've been up until this point. People tell me all the time, like people be applying to be part of dieting from the inside out, and they're like, "But Jared, I've been an all or nothing person. I'm an all or nothing person." I go, "Yeah, that's the problem. You can't say you want sustainable, peaceful, frictionless fat loss and then also say you're an all or nothing person. Like that doesn't work. That's like saying, I want to settle down with a family, but then you go cheat on your wife. Like that doesn't, you can't do both. So you have to let go. Part of a new identity is you have to let go of the old one. It doesn't serve you anymore. It may have served you in the past. Cool. We appreciate it. It's causing a detriment now. Most of the ladies inside the program are all higher caliber, very busy, career oriented, family, busy, high performing women. And something that always blows their mind is I say, what got you to be thriving in your career is actually a detriment here. Yeah, you were all or nothing extreme to build to go and be an executive or whatever, but in fat loss, it actually is making things sabotage worse. That all or nothing doesn't work here. So we can say thank you over here, but we have to let go of it here. This is hard, guys. It's equally just important in order to have a new identity, you have to let go of the old one. You have to let go of those old parts. That all or nothing, the once I start, I can't stop, the I'll never be good enough. My mom was right. My dad was right. My mom always struggled. You have to let that go. You can't keep that old identity. Again, we have frameworks we can teach you deeper on this, but part of this is letting go of that old identity. There you go. Christy just said it best. This is more than fat loss. This stuff can change your whole life. Yeah, I completely agree. Again, like this, I've said it for years. If you only lose weight, like in my program, you did it wrong. This is good because of this stuff. It changes everything, guys. I'm telling you, when the ladies inside dieting from the inside out implement this stuff, they not only lose weight, fit in all their clothes, and love the way they look naked, but they also get raises at work. They're closer with their husband. They're better moms to their kids, and all of a sudden, their entire life is elevated like 10x. Because when you change your identity, you're taking this version of you to everywhere else. Yeah, which includes fat loss. Great. But it also to your marriage, also to your kids, to your friendships, to your travel, to the things you love, your hobbies. It changes everything because you're changing who you are. Okay. So step one, you got to let go of who you've been up until this point. Number two, you have to choose who you want to be and need to be to reach the goals you have. Something we talk about in dieting from the inside out is you don't go, we don't go, how do I get? It's who do I have to become that gets. Do you hear the subtle distinction? Not how do I lose 30 pounds? Who do I have to become who loses 30 pounds? There you go. Ashley just said it. She said, my entire life changed. My relationship with my husband got better, was a better sister and better friend, and I looked better and was so strong. I found the person I was meant to be. Identity work. Fat loss is just a side benefit, to be honest, when you do it the right way. But this is it, guys. Number two, you have to choose who you want to be and who you need to be to reach the goals that you have. Again, you cannot stay lower level you and get higher level you results. It doesn't work like that. You can't stay all or nothing and then get peaceful fat loss. You cannot stay, oh, I've always been this way and then not be that way. You have to change who you are in terms of, well, how does that person show up? Who is that person? And that's how we have to show up as. Then you have to become number three. You have to become obsessed with that person. Literally, my most successful clients are the ones that wake up every day and they go, how do I be the version that I need to be to get my goals? Who do I have to become who does XYZ? And you need to become obsessed with that person. You have to know them because that's you. That still is you, but it's you over there. Because then this fourth part, you have to align your actions with them. This gets really simple. Once you do the identity work and know who this person is, what their values are, their character traits, all that stuff, now you have to align your actions with them. How does this person show up? How does this person respond to stress? How does this version handle themselves in chaos? How does this person view long term? You have to now align your actions. How does this person set their calories? How does this person work out? How does this person talk to themselves? This is making sense? You guys are getting quiet on me again. I know this is heavy. Number five, then you need to get clear on their values, how they show up in their personality. You cannot change your personal reality without changing your personality. Like I said, if you're like, but I'm a binger, yeah, that's the problem. But I'm an all or nothing person, that's the problem. But I've never done identity work, that's the problem. Well, I've always ran to my emotions with food and quit when I'm not motivated. That's the problem. You're reinforcing the old version of you trying to get new results. That's like trying to put a CD into your iPhone. It doesn't work. Okay? That's why you have to get clear on their values, how they show up, their personality, because then you can lean into that and show up in your actions there. Next, then you have to show up as them daily with your actions and decision making. So when you want to quit, how does that person show up? When you want to hide your emotions with food, what do they do? When when you're not motivated, how does the highest self show up? This is where you rewire your brain. When you have old self that wants to do this and you go, ooh, this is who I have to be, and old patterns want to kick in, and you going, not today, and we're doing what your highest self would do, you are showing your brain, hear me, this is who you are. You have to be the person that you're trying to become before you become them. You have to fake being asleep before you fall asleep. You lay down, close your eyes, and you act like you're asleep, then you drift off to sleep. You have to show up as the person you're trying to be, then over time you become them. Is this making sense? Hopefully this is. Then lastly, please hear me when I say this. Do not be ignorant to the old self that will try to sneak back in. Guys, identity work is hard. Identity work is not for the faint of heart, and it's going to get rough and rocky because you are challenging everything you've ever known. Now, this is the only way you get results for life, though. It sucks, it's hard, but it will transform everything in your life. Literally, it will give you every single thing you've ever wanted from a results and happiness standpoint when you change your identity and the very nature of who you are. It is the missing piece. You can have the best macros, the best workouts, the best splits, the best trainer, the best everything. You have a private chef, but you will ruin it all and continue sabotaging until you change the very pulse in thermostat in autopilot of who you are. So, which means your old self that's been around for a long, long time is going to fight back. So we have to be ready for that. All right. Makes sense from the identity standpoint. Does this make sense? There you go. Susan, you're right. Version 10, baby. Let's go. Does this make sense? Cool. That's how to fix your identity. This is the crash course, guys. I know it's a lot. Here's how to fix your patterns. Here's how to fix it. Because again, I'm the tactic guy. Pattern number one. I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. When it comes to changing your patterns, here's how we do it. The second reason for the self-sabotage is number one, you have to get clear on all your self-sabotaging patterns. Like I said, like a half hour ago, you have to. I'm sorry, your self-sabotaging patterns have a breadcrumb trail. There's a paper trail. You've sabotaged the same 5 or 6 ways for the last 10 years. What are they? Write them out. Get them on paper. Because then once you have them all listed out, number one, assume they're going to keep happening. Literally, like you don't willpower through this. I mean, part of it is, but like you don't just like, oh, they're not gonna. I'm serious. I'm not gonna let them come in this time. No, they're gonna try really hard. So assume they're gonna keep happening until you rewrite this, because then you use this. Number three, this is the most powerful part. Using if this, then what, and map out all of the actions ahead of time, how you can act when these patterns kick back in. I'm going to break this down. In Dieting from the Inside Out, we have a framework we teach called the Stopping Sabotage Method, and this is the cornerstone piece to it. Is step one, you list out all the normal ways you sabotage. Step two, you play the game, what I call if this, then what. If this, you lose motivation, then what? List out what your action plan is. If this happens, I get bored and want to quit, then what am I going to do? And then you list that out. If this happens, I get busy and want to quit, then what am I going to do? Because when you do this for all of your self-sabotaging patterns, there's only like 6 probably, you have a plan of attack when self-sabotage tries to come back, because it will. You have to get ahead of it. You have to be on the offense because it's going to happen. It's why if you looked backwards in your history and you've self-sabotaged the same 6 ways over the last 10 years, I guarantee it. Then, because this part gets messy, this part right here, get used to saying, oh shit, I'm doing it again, then immediately course correcting. Because this game is, again, this game is sticky. You're on autopilot most of the day. So just like the ladies in the program, you're going to be doing your day to day, realizing you're sabotaging. You're going to go, oh shit, I'm doing it again. Boom, course correct to what the right thing is to do, what the highest self action is, what gets you out of the sabotaging. If you catch yourself like drifting back to emotional eating, you go, oh shit, I'm doing it again. Put the food away. Or if you catch yourself over restricting because the scale was up and you are like, oh, I'm going to be good. Oh no, I'm doing it again. Get used to that, because this is how we change it. You have to get awareness first, then we can course correct. Then lastly, be okay with this not being a clean, perfect, or smooth process. It's messy, which goes against that pattern of all or nothing that you have living inside of you still, or that all in, all out perfection bullshit. This game is messy. There we go. Jack said, Jared, my issue is I know when I'm doing it and I say F it. Well, you say F it because it's an identity and a pattern issue. It goes back to the same things. First of all, Jackie, and this is maybe everyone else too, we have to make sure the plan you're following is actually sustainable. Because if you're doing something unsustainable, it's no wonder you say F it. But then there's other part of it too. There's an identity piece and a pattern issue we have to work through with that. So does this make sense so far? We all following? Is this clear on like, cool, I know what to do now? Is everyone like, cool, you can go run through a brick wall? Because we'll do Q&A here in a second. Cool. One final thing. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's the nature of coming to this exact talk tonight. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to be very upfront with you. Self-sabotage is going to come for you harder than ever now because you're aware of it. Like I said before, self-sabotage only turns on when you're doing well. You are literally aware of all its tricks now. You know, you understand how it works. You literally get it inside and out now because of all of what I just showed you. So it's going to come for your head. It's the nature of it. It's because you understand it and you see it. It's literally going to just attack harder now, which means you have to fix the identity first and foremost and get these patterns, the pattern side squared away. Otherwise, it's literally going to be like these angry ass penguins and they're just like, oh, attack. Like that's literally what's going to happen because every new level comes a new devil. So after you lose the weight, it's the sabotage or of keeping it off. Then after that, there's another one. But it's just how the human condition works. Okay. Now, before we go into Q&A, because I want to do that, I want to open up the floor to questions and answers. But before we go into Q&A, here's the thing. There's some of you right now that's listening that you're going to take this info and run with it. You're going to never struggle. Like you're going to literally kick ass and thrive like you've never thrived before. Now, the problem is if you're feeling overwhelmed with a lot of this, there's some of you that are going to need more support because like some of you are already like, I don't understand the identity. How do I do it? I need more info than that. Well, what about this and the sabotage? All that stuff. Here's the reality though. Inside my program, my cornerstone program, Dieting from the Inside Out, we have everything mapped out for you. Literally, like to a T, every framework, way more in-depth versions of the identity stuff, stopping sabotage, the whole works. Literally an exact play-by-play for the next year plus to end self-sabotage and to lose your next 20, 30 pounds and keep it off for good and actually go live your life and be thriving so you never have to struggle with this stuff again. We have all of that mapped out inside Dieting from the Inside Out with actual one-on-one support, tailored and sprinkled in the entire thing. So that way, when these moments of sabotage hits, you don't spiral because half the time you don't see them because you're on autopilot, like we said, like 90% of the day. So again, if there are some of you on here that would like to work more intimately around this stuff with me and my team, I would love to see if Dieting from the Inside Out would be a good fit for you. I would love to see it because I think it would make a huge difference for you. So I'm not going to hard sell you though. That's not how I fly. If you want more info to see about what it looks like to work with us inside Dieting from the Inside Out, just either reply to any of the confirmation text messages, DFIO, Dieting from the Inside Out. Just reply DFIO, or if you're watching this somewhere else, hit me up on Instagram. Just literally message me on Instagram at Real Jared Hamilton with DFIO, Dieting from the Inside Out. And then I'll ask you some questions, no pressure, to see if it's the right fit and to see if it's doable. Otherwise, let's do some Q&A. What questions can I answer for you guys? Karen, will I be able to watch the recording because I need to watch it a lot? 100%. Yes, it will be all available. I will once this call ends and we once the call ends and we and I render it and do all the stuff, I will send it out to everyone that registered. Also, to be fair though, I'll put it this way, this recording is the tip of the iceberg for the rest of the content and support I have in Dieting from the Inside Out. If this is a major priority for you, if you're like, no, I want to end the self-sabotage quick because I keep doing all this stuff. Literally, I actually was just doing a call with the clients in there tonight because we have so much other content that nowhere else is on the internet, especially with mine inside the program, that this is just like the tip of the iceberg. Like some of the other members in here could allude to that and agree, where the content that we have and the strategy and the frameworks go 1,000 times deeper than what we did here. So if this is like really relevant to you and you're like, this is where I know where I need to be, you should shoot me a message and we'll see if we can help you there. But otherwise, yes, I will be having the replay out. Not a problem, Cecilia. Not a problem, Becca. What questions do you guys have? There you go. Thank you, Ashley. What else, guys? What questions do you have? I'm here. I'm literally here for you. What do you guys need? Literally, like we've even kept everyone the entire time. So, um, let's see. I don't need to lose weight. I just need to stop binge eating 100%. Well, here's the reality. There's 4 reasons for binge eating. One of which is your identity, and a couple of the others are pattern based. So we can help with that. Shoot me a message and DFIO, and I'll be able to help. Because I mean, literally for binge eating, it would be a whole nother like multi-night thing, like webinar. So if that's you, because I totally get not needing to lose weight and just stop binge eating, but like I said, we have so many things for that. Just shoot me a message. There we go, Jackie. I'm here for it. Let's go. I appreciate that. Let's go, Becca. I appreciate it. Let's see. This feels like a lot of introspection. How long are people in your program for typically? So I always start people with my anything I touch. I always start everyone with 6 months as a kick as like a springboard, because the reality is, because you're right, this is a lot of introspection, but it's not just introspection. We have to do introspection. We have to change habits, patterns, beliefs, and all those things. And then once we have the breakthroughs, we need to stabilize. Because again, it goes back to the whole concept of your mind would rather gravitate to a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. So it's not enough just to have the breakthroughs, but then it's to keep the breakthroughs and keep everything, because like everyone on here has lost the weight, but then they gained it back. Then you're reprogramming your brain to continue that. So to answer your question, whenever I work with someone, I always start our clients with 6 months to make sure we at least have a springboard. But then also the reality is most clients stay much longer than that because of how much they're succeeding and thriving, and they just want more, and it's just the best thing ever. So it depends person to person, but we start with 6 months, and then we just because we have to have long enough for this to be sustainable. So there you go, Jana. I appreciate you. Great to see you, Sherry. Christy, where'd they go? Where'd that go? Okay. What kind of tools to find out what identity is, should be, and how to identify patterns? Well, that's a lot. So there's a lot of answers to that. Because in number one, like not trying to beat a dead horse, we have exact trainings and specifics inside Dieting from the Inside Out for that. Because each of these there's like a full like video with frameworks and all that stuff. But the short version is what kind of tools to find out what the identity is. We have to learn how to question our thoughts, and we have to learn to part of this is to go, cool, what do I want? Let's say that I want to lose 30 pounds. Cool. Who do I have to become? And that we can't keep that general. It has to be cool. What are the exact values of that person? How does that person show up, walk, talk, act, everything? Because then if once we have that, then we have to align our actions in the plan, which we in Dieting from the Inside Out map out for you to make that all come together. Because this is where there's a disconnect. People will do like, cool, this is who I want to be, but then they keep their actions down here. Well, talk is cheap. You would if someone had a history of cheating, you would never get back to them, because go back with them, because you're like, you haven't changed. You have to teach your brain that you've changed. You have to show your brain through your actions and your results that this is who you are now. So it's not a matter of like, who should I be? It's, well, who do you want to be? What results do you want? Then cool. What identity matches that? And then what actions follow suit with that? And then we have to course correct along the way. Like, how am I doing? How am I showing up as them, and things like that. So Becca, I once had a doctor tell me to simply run 5 miles a day to lose weight. I found a new doctor immediately. I'm so sorry. I hate that shit. That's like the bane of my existence. So I'm so glad you found a new doctor. Uh, Susan, specifically define my why. So my thing is with whys, like, don't get me wrong, whys are having a strong why is important, but the problem is most people's why is not going to be strong enough when your identity and patterns are too much. Because then you also have, I talk about this in Dieting from the Inside Out, is we have to go also both sides of why. We need to not just do the positive why, like be a better example of my kids and live a long time, da da da. We also need the why that's rooted in avoidance of pain, because the only two things per psychology that drives human behavior is pursuit of pleasure or avoidance of pain. And when we are sabotaging and in the hole, too often the positive why isn't strong enough for most people. We have to have a why rooted in avoidance of pain. So there's both sides to that. Um, Sam, what is the collective? And is the same thing you're talking about. So what's funny? So actually, that's a great question, Sam. So the collective, we actually have revamped and changed a lot of the things in the collective, where that's where Dieting from the Inside Out came from, is because a lot of people, just by the name of the collective, was misunderstanding what it is. Like whenever I would show someone what we do inside the program, they're like, yo, I thought this was going to be some little tiny thing. I didn't know it was this organized, this strategic, this one-on-one, this all this stuff. So we actually have recently basically done an overhaul of the collective. And that's where we change everything. So it's dieting from the inside out, where we it's not just like a random coaching group. It is actually like there's absolute one-on-one attention. This it's really very specific frameworks around all the stuff we're working through. That way you're getting the tailored help that you need for everything. So like I said, if you want to learn more, I can happy to answer questions. Just shoot me the message and then we'll go from there. So Christy, who rather than why? Elaborate a little bit more. What do you? Well, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. What else, guys? What other questions you got for me? Otherwise, I know it's almost 10 o'clock, but you guys have like stuck around and I appreciate it. Like literally, I think we've only lost like 3 or 4 people. Like this is awesome. What else can I answer for you? How can I help? What wasn't clear? What do you need more information on? What do you not understand? How can I help? Otherwise, if no questions, we will call it a night. But I know you guys have got some. I know there's more sitting in there. I wish I could just let you guys unmute and we could talk, but Zoom isn't letting me do that. More important to find out who you should be, identity versus why am I doing this? Yeah, so here's the thing. There's a couple sides to this. Is it important to understand why you're doing things? Absolutely. But but it is equally just as important, if not more important, to understand who you have to become. Because here's the reality is like I had a client one time who was basically saying like she was obsessed, like I just need to know why I do this. And I go, cool. Well, I go, you want me to tell you real quick? She goes, please. And I said, and I knew her history, and I go, you're doing it because it's a coping mechanism. It's a coping mechanism you learned when you were a child to avoid getting hurt. That's why you're binge eating all the time. And that was the one reason she was. And I go, does that make sense? She goes, yeah. I go, cool. Does it change anything? She goes, no. I go, exactly. The answer is what do we need to do now? Who do we have to become to stop it? What frameworks and patterns and rewrites do we have to put to end that pattern of binge eating? And for her, that was really groundbreaking because she was so obsessed with the why. But giving information of why isn't as helpful as people would think. Here's the cool part. I know all the whys. I know I can break down I can nerd out on psychology work with you like no one's business around all this stuff. But we don't want to just collect information of why. We need to do something with it. What are we doing with this? Who are we having to become, regardless of why the issue is here? Because you learned it from your childhood, because your dad said something, whatever. We have to fix it regardless. So, if that makes sense. Emotional regulation two question mark. Yes. So there's 4 primary reasons for binge eating that all have to be addressed because most people are a combo platter. One of which is emotional stuff too. So as far as the question, yes, we have to get into emotional regulation. Now, if you were asking about if inside dieting from the inside out, we do that as well. 1000%. That is one of the biggest areas we cover. So Jennifer, does dieting from the inside out help with negative self-talk? Absolutely, because guess what negative self-talk is? A pattern of protection that you learned years ago, more than likely. Like, oh, if I talk bad about myself, I will perform better. I won't get hurt or whatever. We have to fix that. So 100%. It's part of this. So guys, if it helps, like with all the questions about dieting from the inside out, we basically cover all the areas for every single reason you could possibly sabotage and every internal issue that is making weight loss impossible. But then we also, on the surface, fix everything on the surface for every action, habit, strategy, and how to basically eat your favorite foods every day, never feel restricted, have complete peace around food while losing weight and keeping it off and retraining your brain that this is how we do things now. Like quite literally, like after people graduate and go through dieting from the inside out, they are new humans who feel normal around food, can go enjoy everything that they want without feeling restricted, without binge eating, while feeling like a normal person again and fitting in all their clothes and being the example they want to be for their kids. So, like I said, if you want to look into it and apply for it and we can chat about it, just message me DFIO either in a text or on Instagram, and I'll be happy to to see if it's a good fit. So again, I don't get into hard sales. I only want this to I only take people into the program who I absolutely think can benefit from it and it's a good fit on both sides. So what else, guys? What other questions? There cannot be this many of you still on here if there's not questions. So I got a few more minutes. What else is going on? What can I help with? Was this helpful? Should I do more of these? Curious. If the answer is yes, what subjects would you like to hear? Jana, do you work with people on GLP-1? 1000%. Because here's the thing, Jana, and for anyone else that's curious, With GLP-1, I'm not against it. The only thing I'm against is using it unintelligently. And unfortunately, there's a lot of that. Because even with GLP-1, we still have to fix these inner game things. Because most people on GLP-1, either they plan on being on it forever, and if so, cool. But if you plan on coming off of it, all the things that it's been suppressing are going to come back because it's a powerful suppressant. It kills your appetite, kills your cravings, kills all the things. So if you come off of it, this is when we work with a lot of people who want help coming off of it, or they come off of it and all of a sudden their food noise came back, their emotional eating came back, their hunger came back, and they don't know how to handle it. Because even if you're on it, it's more important than ever. There's several boxes to check because most people, because of how well it works, most people lose their muscle tissue. They don't eat enough and certain other things fall through the cracks. So it's more important than ever because of that. We have to have other habits in check mentally and physically. So yeah, so long answer when an answer yes, we help people on GLP-1 all the time. It's not a problem. Is it okay to scale back when you're mentally and physically exhausted? Yes, but we have to make sure we do it in a way that is not sabotaging because a lot of times I've seen that where people will go do their thing, and then when they're mentally and physically exhausted, scale back. But it's also a sabotaging thing. So there's a line to ride where I'm absolutely a fan of scaling back, but there's ways to do it so you don't just spiral and end up sabotaging. So, what do you think about counting calories? I'm a big fan, assuming it's done with the right intention and how you go about it. Big fan. We have a lot. It's not a must have, but we have a lot of people we work with. Most of the people count calories, but again, we use it as a tool to fix a relationship with food, make fat loss 10 times easier, and actually make it where fat loss is so much simpler. So, Becca, 100% helpful. It honestly was extremely eye-opening and felt very seen and heard. Awesome. I love to hear that. So actually, it's funny, Susan, I was going to ask this. Susan says other topics, negative mindset, finding the middle ground. So I was going to ask um, for those that like this and would like more, I would love to know what other topics, more specific, the better. Like, well, something like GLP-1, the right and the wrong way, or how to lose weight, come on, whatever, like anything like that. Mental food noise is one of my favorite things. We could even do a whole one on identity. I'm curious for you, what struggles are going on that you would like to see another one of these really in-depth workshops on? Because like we're coming up on like an hour and a half right now. So where I can really pour into something. So what would you guys like to hear? Perimenopause, that's helpful. Becca, I was on GLP-1 for over a year, lost 75 pounds, felt great, convinced myself I had learned all the things and actually made all the changes. I've now been off of it for 6 months and gained back 30 pounds. I totally get it. Unfortunately, that's a very normal story that we hear. Um, and which is why I'm really glad that you texted me so we can help fix all this because this is the problem. It's not that the hard thing is with when on GLP-1, it's so good at what it does where when people come off of it, if we are not careful about the other things that are going on, like the food noise, the habits, like all these there's like so many boxes to check. This is where people do gain everything back. And my thing is I want to mitigate that as much as we can. So I totally get where you're coming from. Karen, food noise for sure. Love that. I actually have a food noise guide for those that actually let me throw this in here if you guys want it. Let me grab it in case you don't have it. And I have the link right here. Because I actually have an entire guide called the food noise solution where I basically show you exactly how to end the mental and emotional mental food noise and stop running to food when you're stressed while making fat loss like 1,000 times easier. So I'll put it here, food noise solution. There you go, for those that would like it. Let's see. GLP-1, that's helpful. Identity is hardest for me. I totally get it. This is why the nice thing is this is why we have so much stuff in dieting from the inside out for that and frameworks and prompts and all that. So Sherry, is it really your hormones not regulated in perimenopause that you can't lose weight so much? On the internet saying this. So here's the interesting thing with perimenopause and menopause is there's a lot of back and forth. And for context, most of the people and the ladies that I work with, a huge chunk of them are in perimenopause and menopause. So here's the reality: the rules for fat loss do not change just because you're in perimenopause or menopause. A lot of times, the internet and doctors make menopause and perimenopause out to be like the fat loss death sentence, where it's like impossible. The reality is, a lot of hormonal things are changing and shifting and whatnot, which may affect how well you recover, your metabolism, and things like that. But here's the reality: regardless of all that, regardless even of cortisol and insulin and those kind of things that you are the trendy words, it still doesn't change the rules of fat loss. Here's one of the biggest things that I've seen with the perimenopausal and menopausal women we work with. You're just not able to get away with as many things as you did back before this. Whereas before you could handle tons of workouts, really low calories, working uh, crazy stressful jobs and life and all this stuff. Whereas now it's not. This is where we need more calories. We need to cycle the calories more, where you're not in a deficit for as long. We need maybe less training, less intensity, or we need to address recovery modalities and things like that differently. That's one of the biggest things. Like when someone comes to us and they're in the middle of perimenopause and menopause, we do all the stuff that like scares them. Like just being honest with you, we have them eat more, we have them work out less, we make sure they're emotionally regulated, and we literally double down on recovery. And then all of a sudden, because of those things, the metabolism can actually be better now. It's in a better spot. It upregulates more. You're having more muscle tissue without getting bigger, bulky. A lot of these kind of things. So it's not that all these things magically shift just because you're in perimenopause or menopause. It's that in a lot of cases you just can't get away with what you used to or what you used to be able to, and we have to handle things slightly different. But it's not like the rules of fat loss are astronomically different. That's just something every influencer wants you to think. So hopefully that made sense. What else, guys? Again, there's still freaking 20 of you on here, which I appreciate more than ever. It's 20 of you on at 10 o'clock at night. So what else can I help with? Thanks, Jared. Wish influencers would go away. I feel you. If it helps, Sherry, if you want to shoot me a message, I'm happy to share with you some of the other other like people that I look up to that I appreciate their content around the subjects that might be able to help. So that goes for anybody, by the way. Absolutely, Jana. I appreciate all you guys being on here. This is awesome. What else? What else you guys need? Anything else? I don't want to go until everyone's taken care of. So, and then once I hop off, I will handle everyone. I will message back everyone who messaged me to see about the program and things like that. So, what else? Anything else? Any questions, issues, struggles, questions? I think I already said that. What else? Cool. Well, we will call it a night then, my friends. Otherwise, let me stop sharing my screen. Otherwise, I appreciate all of you guys. It means a ton. Thank you so much. If I can ever help, let me know. You guys have a good night, and I will talk to you next time.